Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us today, talking about Oracle negotiations and how to get the best outcomes so that you can reduce your costs and move to third-party support. So thank you for joining me, Victoria. Appreciate your time today. It's great to see you again.
You're very welcome. It's nice to be here.
Our favorite topic, our friends at I can't even say Redwood anymore, Redwood Shores. I don't even know where they're in Texas now and moving to Nashville. Um, So thank you very much. We actually, unlike previous webinars, I have some slides. I can't believe it that we can walk through in terms of how to deal with Oracle. But before we start, Victoria, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and Support Revolution and where you guys fit into the whole Oracle ecosystem?
Lovely. Thank you. So, hi, everyone. I'm Victoria Molloy. I'm the Chief Commercial Officer at Support Revolution. So, I've been with the business for longer than I care to remember now, over 20 years. And we Support Revolution, effectively, what we do is we replace the support and maintenance that customers currently receive from Oracle for three main reasons. And I think, Craig, that's where you and your company come in when you're over licensed or looking to certify out of a EULA or a ULA agreement, because we ultimately cut the support and maintenance cost by at least 50%. And in most cases, it sits between the sort of 60, 75%, and even in some cases up to 90%. Giving companies a bit more flexibility if they're on different roadmaps or future strategies, or really if it's just to save money. So that's where we sit in the market. We've been doing this since 2012 globally for our Oracle customers.
Excellent. I just wanted to make sure people knew that you guys are global. You guys are
Yeah.
selling around the world, so it's fantastic. We had one just this morning. I was talking to a potential client of yours, hopefully one day. They bought EBS licenses back in 2004, and I don't think they've logged a ticket in 2 years. And what they're paying for
Yeah.
Oracle support is 3x what they started paying in 2004, 2005. So they are a perfect candidate for you guys. And I think that's a great use case in terms of Oracle cost going up and up, and maybe the value of the service going down and down.
And I think that's it. And it's initial cost savings, but it's also value for what you are paying. And like you said, a lot of Oracle customers installed their ERP systems many, many years ago. And over time, those costs just increase and increase. And over obviously the last few years, we're seeing up to 8 or upwards of 8% increase on support maintenance costs for raising very few support tickets, while obviously the drive to continue to upgrade and potentially move to a SaaS product of the version as well. So absolutely, that's where we sit. We sustain and maintain current ERP and database platforms and other Oracle technology, bit more flexibility while reducing those costs for the customers.
Excellent, excellent. And I'm always surprised that lots of people don't even know your industry exists, that there's
Yeah.
alternatives to Oracle. So I'll still get the 30, 40% of the times we're talking to someone about reducing costs and we mention independent maintenance and they say, what is that? And we have to sort of
I know
explain
it,
it to them.
it surprises me. I mean, I've been doing this with Support Revolution since 2012, and there was a lot of education at the beginning. And it still surprises me now where we're still educating organizations that there is an alternative. And that's what it is. It's an alternative. You get to keep your software, you get to maintain your systems, you get to maintain compliance, but there's just an alternative for support. And I think it's always been that, well, we just pay the invoice every year, or they speak to organizations like Palisade and say, well, how can we help cost reductions or look to negotiate better deals with
Right.
Oracle? And there are lots of options out there.
And we get the same. How many times we'll talk to someone or meet someone and we're like, we had no idea there were companies out there that would help us negotiate with Oracle.
I
And it's
know.
like,
Well,
there
and
are.
the same for us. I mean, it's one of those things when people are looking at third party support and they say, well, how do we get to a state where we understand our contracts and what we can actually do? And that's where Palisade fit in very, very well. So you guys obviously can help them review what their options are and their licensing and whether it's a EULA or a PULA or perpetual licensing. So yeah, there are options.
There
Definitely.
are always options. Yes, yes, there are always options. So I figured we could just jump right in and talk a little bit about the Oracle's negotiation playbook, um, how Oracle negotiates, sort of get your thoughts on what you've seen your clients deal with. And then, I put down, some strategies that we provide clients in terms of how to get the best outcomes for their customers. And I do have a slide or two on ULAs because that leads directly into some of the services that you guys provide in terms of getting costs down. And I'll just remind folks that if you have any questions, please submit them on the chat. We're not taking verbal questions, but you can put anything in writing there and we will address them. I don't know if there were any specific questions that came when people registered, but if you have something you want us to discuss, put it in the chat and we'll be happy to do that. So let me share my screen and you let me know. Can you see that?
Brilliant.
Excellent. So when I think about how Oracle negotiates, or when I talk to folks and we're trying to provide an education on negotiations, first thing we do is, well, let's talk what Oracle does, right? Because we have to deal with that, right? We're not negotiating in a vacuum. And for us, what we see, and they're very effective at this. So why does Oracle do things? Well, because it works. That's as simple as that. So when I think about how Oracle negotiates, um, one of the things they do very effectively is get customers worried. You're out of compliance.
Yeah.
Boy, if you make that move, really bad things will happen in the future. In your case, I think perhaps uh, customers or prospective customers, and there's no truth to this, is threats of audits, right? Oh, if you move away from
We
Oracle
hear
and
it
spend less,
all
you're
the
going to get
time.
audited. So what are you hearing your customers tell you?
It's exactly that. It's the fear. Will we get audited? It's a timeline thing a lot of the time as well. They're thinking, well, if we put our notice in too early, will they try and audit us while we're in our notice period? Will they come in after we've given notice? But also, if they're looking customers that move to third party support, and they haven't had an audit for say 5+ years, they worry it's going to trigger an audit. But also,
Right.
if customers we work with are saying, well, actually, we just want to move just our e-business suite to you, and we want to keep the remaining technology with Oracle, that's a big worry for them as well, whether they separate agreements and move things around. But I think that has to be number one, doesn't it? The worry, it's the fear.
It is, I breezed through a whole bunch of slides here, but I'm going to just go back just because it's funny. This is a cartoon that has come out years ago. I don't know, it's probably 12 or 13 years old. And if you look at Oracle at the bottom, sort of the org chart, I think that's the perception that customers have
Yeah.
around Oracle is that there's this huge legal department that's ready to pounce if anything should go out of bounds in terms of what Oracle wants you to do is in giving them more money. And there's a little bit of truth to that. There is an outsized presence that the Oracle legal team has in negotiations or just the relationship. And just like you said, it's just worry, right? And I think what we do often is just help customers get information, whether it's their compliance position or Oracle policies or Oracle strategies. And then they sort of settle down a little bit, right? Oh, we're not as worried. This isn't as big of a jump as I thought it was going to be in terms of, let's say moving to third-party support or moving to an alternative product or moving to a different cloud that's not OCI. That's a big one these days.
That's the big one at the moment as well. An alternative cloud, I would say, is a big fear.
Now, speaking of that, do you guys, if a customer came to you and said, "Hey, we're thinking about moving to AWS, Microsoft, or Google Cloud, do you support us in those cloud environments?" You would say,
Absolutely. So we've been a cloud partner, Azure, AWS, and Google for many, many years. And we actually migrate a lot of our customers either before or after they've moved to third party support with us to these new cloud environments. Because ultimately, if you've got this software that you want to maintain on its current version for a long period of time, it makes sense to put it in an infrastructure that can also maintain that time period as well. So we have teams that migrate, but then also maintain in those cloud environments too.
yeah, and I think that Oracle, and I've got some information later in this presentation, but Oracle has made some changes to their cloud licensing policies over the last couple of years. There've been 3 different versions of that document just this year. And in one respect, it puts those three hypervisors, mega hypervisors, in hyperscalers, sorry, in on the same footing, Google, Microsoft, AWS. But what we see Oracle constantly say to customers is, yes, but we provide better support on OCI. It's better over here. So they're using their support organization and all of that, those dollars as leverage to drive cloud revenue, which is unfortunate because customers have paid for this stuff and you'd think it would be the same in any cloud. Um, but anyway, so doubt is definitely something that we see and worry and confusion. The other thing we see is the timing, like you mentioned, the timeline. So they'll spend a lot of time sending PowerPoint presentations and having meetings with customers without presenting contract documents. So one of the things we've seen sort of unprepared companies do is they're thinking about moving to third-party support and they're still talking to Oracle, and Oracle basically runs out the clock, and maybe they have a 30 or
Yeah.
60-day notice period to give Oracle to terminate support, and the customer misses that because they've been talking to Oracle, and all of a sudden it's 15 days out and they they want to move to third-party support. They give notice to Oracle and Oracle says, up, too late, have to pay for next year. So is that something that you guys are seeing as well?
All the time. All the time. And I think it's not only it's a decision to move to third party support. And there's a lot of reviews that go in ahead of the decision making process. And I work with companies, and I'm sure you do, that engage Oracle in that process as well, to see, okay, well, we've gone to third party. Could we go to Oracle to maybe look at a better deal, or to carve out some of our licensing to move to third party? And absolutely, they run the clock down. I would say, especially at year end. April, May time as well is really when we see the clock really running down and potential deals are offered, but they're
Mhm.
never put in official documentation. So I think that PowerPoint presentation made me smile a little bit as well, because I have seen a number of those where they're offering things, but nothing's contractually presented.
Yes, which sort of brings us to the fourth bullet point, lack of authority to make changes or say yes or no. And one of the things, having run contracts at Oracle for many years, I like to tell people is every single person at Oracle has absolute authority to say no to everything. So when we say there's a lack of authority, that's not really the truth. Uh,
Mhm.
and there's only 10 or 15 people who could say nay, could say yes to everything. So everybody could say no. Very few people could say yes. So that again, that timeline and getting contracts earlier in the cycle and sort of having Oracle put things in writing is really important. And of course, the threats of the worst deal, right? If you don't do what we want you to do in the time frame that we want you to do it, something bad will happen to you. You won't get that, the end of November is the end of their second quarter. So we've got a few
Yep.
more days here. If you don't sign by Friday, really bad, horrible things will happen on December 2nd or 3rd or next week. So, we see that. And I imagine that's the same with support. If you don't sign Oracle support, A, B, and
There's
C
no
is going to happen.
negotiation, is there? It sometimes auto renewals, sometimes the letters just come through the post. But I think, and I don't know how you feel, but for us, we can be working with companies for 2 years. We can be working with companies for 2 weeks. As long as everything's in order at the point of doing it, then anything can be possible. But I would say the sweet spot for moving to third party support, once you've been through sort of your negotiations, would be around 3 months. Would you say it was about the same, or where would you suggest companies would start their process?
Well, I mean, listen, it's more about when it comes to the move to third-party support, I think it's more about making sure they have access to any patches or updates that Oracle has already released. And I know that when I look at some of your competitors, they really stress doing archives and downloads, and you guys not so much, because maybe you're in a different position. So I think it's getting the technical teams comfortable that at some point when something breaks in the Oracle software or their implementation, they can pick up the phone and call someone who will answer their question. And they're so used to calling Oracle. So if that takes 3 months, if that takes 6 months, it's more that what I find, it's more the technical people who are throwing up the blocks. Like
Yeah.
the business people want to do it. The people who write the check and pay the bills, they see who we've done one service request in 3 years, and Oracle said they can't help us because it was custom code. And that's the problem is sort of getting the technical people. And Oracle, I think, is really good at getting them worried about, because when we think about a relationship between a company and Oracle, companies don't have relationships. People have relationships. And Oracle is talking to technical people, they're talking to business people, they're talking to executives, and they're telling, maybe not different things, but they're putting their hand on the scale in different points. So I love the 3 month, I mean, the earlier the better for me. It's like a ULA certification. What is the best time to start your ULA certification? It's the day you sign your ULA, right? That is the day, so you can have 3 years to optimize and prepare. But having said that, if someone out there has a ULA that ends on Friday, I will get a call on Monday saying, "Hey, help me certify. Thing ended last week." And we absolutely can do that. So the earlier the better. 3 months, I think, is a great 3 to 6 months is a great sweet spot to do this. Larger organizations, I think, need more time because they might have, database middleware, EBS, and so they need to check all those boxes internally.
Absolutely. And I think it's interesting what you said then about the ULA finishing on Friday and you getting a call on Monday. And I think that is also a misunderstanding for a lot of companies that I talk to, that they can't come to somebody like Palisade the week after it's ended and say, look, help me do this. And
Right.
absolutely you can, and it is the option. And again, I think it goes a little bit back to the scare tactics and the worry. And sometimes it's just easier to sign and deal with it next year.
No, we will get those calls in December. I don't know if you could help me, and absolutely can. So we had an interesting call this morning. A client, or hopefully a client, wanted to know about moving to third-party support, and they have, again, old EBS licenses, and they were just a little unsure. And they started the call with, "We want to do this thing, and we want to know what Oracle rules we're going to break. That's all we want to know, is what rules we're going to break, so we could." And I was like, "You'll be fine. Don't worry. You're not leaving Oracle support is not a problem." So it's that worry. And I think, this sort of playbook that Oracle uses, running out the clock, putting the time pressure on, having those different relationships and calling executives and getting them worried, making you concerned about compliance. Java is the big thing this year, or even last year. All of those things, why does Oracle do this? Because it works, right? 9 times out of 10, customers will just do what Oracle says unless they talk to somebody else who tells them there's a different way to do it. Um, I want to talk a little bit about mistakes, and then I've got a slide in here on ULAs that I think you'll be interested in. Talking about relationships, relying on the Oracle relationship, or asking Oracle, "Hey, is it okay if I move to third-party support?" Like, what is your Oracle salesperson who gets paid commission on making sure you sign up for support going to tell you in that situation? Well, no, it's not okay. You should stay with us, and here's all the reasons why. So are you seeing clients like, and I think you mentioned before, Victoria, that you have clients that go back to Oracle and ask these questions. "Oh, this guy's a
We
great
do.
champion."
We
Yeah.
do.
How does that
We
work for them?
so but again, it's the relationship. I think sometimes there's a misconception that your account manager is an account manager and not a salesperson. But I think you said it right then, that you're a sales target, you're a number, and absolutely every business needs to run in that respect. But if you go to Oracle, I've seen some horrendous emails that have come back with, if you do this, literally, it will be the worst mistake you ever make. You might lose your job. This is going to happen. This is going to happen, and they show me, and I'm like, no, that's not the case. That really isn't the case. So, and it's that relationship. And I think you mentioned something earlier. It's many years ago, Oracle used to provide support for their customers, and it would be with the same support team, and you'd be able to raise lots of tickets, and you'd have that sort of relationship with Oracle as well as your account manager. And more so recently, maybe over the last 7, 8 years, it's been relatively self-service. So customers don't necessarily have a relationship with Oracle other than their account manager, because they're logging into Oracle support and they're fixing their own issues rather than picking up the phone and speaking to Oracle consultants as such. So yeah, the relationship does rely a little bit on the account manager, and sometimes it's not always true as to what they say, but ultimately it's a sales game sometimes.
That whole process of how customers get support from Oracle, and again, I'll go back to my time at Oracle. I left there in 2011, so I was there for 16 years. And when I started in the 90s, you had a sales support rep, and that person would be your account manager for support. And many times customers would call me up because my name was on the contracts and who's my support account rep, and I would tell them. And then during my tenure there, Oracle and after my tenure, basically got rid of all these people and, like you said, made it very self-service. So you don't have a sort of a support account rep anymore for the most part. You log in, you get a renewal quote. And from an Oracle internal perspective, that was seen as a big success. Oh my gosh, we took our margins from 93% of support. Now it's 96% is margin on support. So it was all about reducing costs and maybe not necessarily improving the service to our clients. Now, I would imagine that if someone is a Support Revolution customer, they're not logged, they have an account manager. They have someone they can call and talk to about their environment and sort of to help them fix problems.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have account managers that are allocated to accounts, primary support engineers that are experts in the particular software as well. So not only account reps, but also technical representatives that they have engagement with and relationships as well. So our job as a third-party support provider initially is obviously to save money and give more freedom on your support, but it's to help you maintain your Oracle systems indefinitely, effectively.
Mhm.
So we offer free and unlimited Ask the Expert sessions. So not necessarily with your primary support engineer or your account manager, but other areas of the business. So we mentioned cloud earlier, for example. Should one of our customers be on premise and their systems might need upgrading or they're thinking of going to cloud, they can reach out to us. We have free and unlimited Ask the Expert sessions where our teams can sit and give them advice on what we believe would be a good option for them. So there's lots of different touch points as well as the support.
So I just want to go back here and thank you for that. We talked a lot about what Oracle, how they negotiate. We talked about mistakes, but what should customers do in terms of negotiating with Oracle? And I put it into three buckets. The foundational is probably good for any vendor, Oracle, Microsoft, SAP. If you're negotiating with Support Revolution or Palisade, you probably want to make sure you have the right people on your team. You probably want to have a plan to make sure we want to get from today until June, and we want to sign that new ULA or exit that ULA and move to third-party support or move to cloud or do whatever you want to do. So you should have, because Oracle has a plan, right? They have a plan and a strategy for your account. Obviously, stay in compliance. And I think from a support perspective, having that alternative, right? If we want to reduce our Oracle support costs and all we are doing is talking to Oracle support, that's going to be a very challenging and not very fruitful conversation. But if I'm talking to alternative providers like you guys, that conversation might change with Oracle and will definitely change with Support Revolution in terms of having an alternative solution. My quote that I want to put every customer in when they're negotiating with Oracle, when Oracle gives them an offer, it'll be 10 million for Oracle support. If I can have the customer say to Oracle, how about I give you nothing, right? If I can put them in that position, the conversation might change with Oracle. So, and I think you guys are a great alternative. And what happens, I know when we've introduced clients to you all, they don't maybe not know about this whole industry, or they might not know about you guys, but they're like, oh, and now there's a possibility. Now we can do something different. I know we've had clients move to your services and it's been great for them. So having that alternative really changes your relationship and your spend, but also makes Oracle pay attention to you a little bit more and in a good way, where they'll maybe be a little more attentive than taking your business for granted.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think it doesn't stop when customers move to us. It doesn't stop them being future Oracle customers either, because
Yeah.
the products, the software, the technology is great. It's usually for cost benefits or support of certain versions companies move to us. But again, if you want to buy new licenses or you want to look at the cloud products in the future, it doesn't cut all ties from Oracle if you wanted it to keep some doors open. Obviously, some customers do. They want to shut the door and never go back, but it's just you're in a better negotiation place when you move some or part of your systems to third-party support.
Yes, and this sort of goes down to number three, the audible, meaning change directions. Like you can, your plan says you're going to go in this direction. At the very end, you call an audible and you go in a different direction. And I put two on there: walk away for now and walk away for good. When I think about Oracle support, I think that's how customers think about it. Like, listen, we're walking away from Oracle support for good. Like we are never going back. Like we're using PeopleSoft and we're moving off that because we're going to Workday. So we're getting rid of this Oracle support bill. We're going to go to Support Revolution, and eventually we're going to go away from Support Revolution because we're adopting Workday, and that's fine. And then, like you said, we're just walking away for now. Like our bill is so high, we're going to walk away for a few years and then maybe talk to Oracle again. And I've seen that as well. And I think that's great for customers that they can, leverage alternative providers like Support Revolution to do these things. And sometimes I think they're like, we're going to walk away for now, but then they realized nothing broke. That was actually we're getting,
Well,
we'll
we
keep
have
this
that
for
all
good.
the time. We have that
Yes.
all the time. We're going to come for a year or 2 years, and then we're going to go to this new platform, or we're going to do this, and then customers realize, oh, well, actually, nothing's broken. Everything's fine. We're compliant. We're all secure. So I think we're going to stay for a few more years, and then maybe reevaluate the market to see what else is there. So yeah, that happens a lot.
When I started work at Oracle, I was going to be there for 1 year and I was there 16. So I was like, I'm just going to do this 1 year. And it just, I don't
See
know,
how it
nothing
goes.
broke. It's all good. We did get one question on the chat before I get into the ULA piece. One other compliance doubt, more of this is on the security front, is the lack of access to critical patch updates released on a quarterly basis by Oracle. How do you work around this so that the CISO and DISO are comfortable with the application still being regularly patched and secure? That is for you, not for me.
For me. No, absolutely. So when you leave Oracle, or even when you're with Oracle at the moment, and if you're not on the supported version of the software, you're running legacy software, but you're still paying Oracle support and maintenance, you won't be receiving the security updates. And then when you move to third party, one of the main benefits of moving to third party is all of that software, regardless of the version, we would provide security updates via Trend Micro Deep Security. So we partner with Trend, we've adapted the software, and ultimately it's an agent that's installed on the servers. It supports like a big ring fence around all of the Oracle products at server level, updates on a weekly basis, very, very low maintenance, very, very lightweight, but it allows compliance and regulatory organizations to be able to stay on. I mean, we're still supporting 899 databases in organizations that are heavily regulated. And because we're providing the support and Trend Micro Deep Security is providing the security updates, it allows them to maintain that software.
Yeah, we have done, in our work doing compliance reviews, clients run our tools and we analyze all this data. So we have literally over the years analyzed millions of instances of Oracle database implementations. And I think the average is 6 or 7 years old, the software. Like people
Yeah.
are just not, for the most part, if you have, 100 installs of Oracle database, most of it is very old, right? And there'll be some that's on the latest
Yeah.
version, but that's so when Oracle says, 90% of customers are using the latest version, well, that's true, but it's not 90% of their implementations. It's just a very small
Absolutely.
piece. Yeah.
And I think when you've got multiple instances and it's not just Oracle databases with an Oracle Business Suite, for example, the databases are interfaced into other applications. A lot of the time they can't be upgraded because it's not compatible with other applications and other functionality. So I think third-party support works incredibly well for those particular organizations as well. But yeah, Trend Micro, it's a fantastic product. We've used it for many, many, many years and developed it ourselves to be really suitable specifically for Oracle replacement security updates. And I think, like you said, a lot of these organizations, 90% might be on unsupported versions, but it's also asking, so how often do you actually apply these updates? It's very rare that we'll talk to an organization that applies them every quarter. Or even if you apply them on a quarterly basis, it might be 6 months after the release date. So you're always kind of catching up. But with Trend, within a week, you can be up to date and secure.
Excellent. Excellent. I know that is a common question, so thank you for that. Um, Thank you for that answer. A couple of things I wanted to just sort of on my side, and obviously we can delve into anything else you want to, Victoria, is just talk about ULAs for a second, because this is a great example, I think, of how clients take control and then work with Palisade and work with Support Revolution to reduce their overall costs. For those of you who don't know, ULAs basically it's supposed to be unlimited, so you pay Oracle upfront for the licenses and you pay them an annual support bill. And at the end of the ULA, if you want to get out, this thing called certification. And one of the common things we have to educate folks on is when you certify, if your support cost doesn't change with Oracle. So if you tell Oracle you're using 100 licenses, you're going to pay one price. If you say it's 1,000 licenses, you're going to pay the same price. If you say it's 50,000 licenses, you're still going to pay the same price for support. It doesn't change. So customers are often they come to us that last year and they're in a software consolidation and they're using less, and we have to sort of flip that around, say, no, you want to use more, because at the end you're going to grab as many licenses as you can, and then you'll have extra that you can do stuff with. For example, not buy more in the future or negotiate a lower cost, or going forward. So when I look at the certification or the end of a ULA, I think about, let's assume a client has a ULA that expires in November this year, right? So it's the end of Oracle's second quarter. They might be spending $2 million a year. I have dollars in here, sorry. So $2 million. And Oracle says, no, we want you to renew that. It's going to be a $10 million license fee. And for now, your support will be $4 million. So I don't think people realize it's additive. So you have to take your old support, you put in your new support. And when I look at this client who renews a ULA over 3 years, they're going to spend $22 million on support, on Oracle fees. Just certifying out of a ULA brings your Oracle cost from 22 million down to 6 million. Now, the challenge, though, is for those people who want to actually reduce their Oracle costs, if you certify and do nothing else, your Oracle costs actually go up a little bit because you're getting hit with the annual support increases, 8% in this case. I just put as an example. So very great story on cost avoidance, not the best story on cost reduction. The exit and reduce, which is, I think, where you guys come in, is a company certifies out of that ULA and moves to third-party support, moves to Support Revolution. In this case, I just put a 50% reduction because that's, what you said earlier. Now your Oracle costs go from 6.5 million down to 3 million. And it's just the beginning. And I know there's all kinds of embedded cost savings with not doing upgrades and all of that. But I just want folks to see this as sort of the scope of the challenge. What Oracle wants you to do is 22 million. What you could do is 3 million or less. So just, have you seen this in action?
Yeah. And I think it's, and like you said, it's the tip of the iceberg. It's the 22 million to 3 million is the initial. Then you look at year 2, what are you licensed for? Year 3, what are you licensed for? Because in third-party support, you then get the option to continually reduce your scope, like you would do with Palisade when you're reviewing, and then continually reduce your scope. The thing that catches a lot of Oracle customers out when they're certifying their EULA is they don't always understand that you can you can move to third-party support at the same time as certifying. Oracle will, in my experience, 90% of the time will say, okay, you can certify, but you have to buy the next year's support maintenance. You have to buy the next 12 months. There are companies, obviously, when we work with them and they understand and they work with yourselves, and you don't have to buy the support and maintenance from Oracle. You have to be licensed appropriately, but your support and maintenance can come from a third party like Support Revolution.
Yeah, and I think that you're absolutely right. There's those two things are very separate. The license fees that you've already paid to Oracle
Mm.
and maintaining support. And Oracle, in their own agreements, separates all of that because they have their own revenue recognition, right? This 10
Mhm.
million that they want to have you give them, they want to recognize in November, right? So right there in this month, so they can put it on their earnings in December when they announce in December. The support is recognized monthly, so that's very so they never want to from a contractual standpoint, they never want to have those things intermingled. But that doesn't prevent Oracle salespeople from saying whatever they're going to say. And I always try to tell people they're not lying to you. They just don't understand. They are not licensing experts. They are not contracting experts. They are paid to sell you more support. And when you say, I'm not going to give you money, that hurts their quota and they don't eat. So they get very mad. Um, for lack of a better way to put that. So yeah, so this is a great example, I think, in terms of using an advisory firm like Palisade and a support firm like Support Revolution, how to look at all of this together. Oracle will never help you do this, right? Oracle will never help you do the second line. They'll never help you certify, and they will definitely never help you do the third line, which is give them less money, right? Everyone at Oracle is paid more money when you give them more money, right? No one makes more money when you go to Oracle and say, I want to go from 2 million to 1 million. Like no one is compensated better for that move. So Oracle's always pushing you up the stack here to do the renewal, right? Or
Yeah.
move to cloud, give up those licenses and move to cloud or do something like that. So I think I had this in here just because I thought it was a great use case scenario for both of our organizations in terms of how we help. So if you have a ULA, I think, for me, we talked about how long does it take to sort of prep for third party support, the 3 to 6 months. I like the last year of your ULA. If you can come to us any time during the last year, you'll be fine. So um, obviously, if your ULA ends on Monday, call today. But we're seeing a lot of Oracle's business is the end of May, right? I would assume most of your support renewals that you see from Oracle all track to the end of May, which is the end
A
of their.
lot of them, yeah. But between now and May, I would say that the large proportion of Oracle contracts. I would sort of add to what you said on that as well and say if an organization is looking to certify out of their ULA to get help with it, um, it really helps because there's a lot of toing and froing with Oracle. And as we know, there are a lot of tricks that they will put in place. But absolutely, if you are in a ULA, regardless if you're looking at moving to third party support or not, I speak to obviously an organization like Palisade to make sure that they help you understand the terminology that is being put in front of you. Because I think sometimes it's that terminology part that can get confusing sometimes.
Yes, yes. Again, Oracle will say a lot of things have to happen in a ULA certification, and none of it's in the contract. So it's made up stuff. Um, So this is the last thing I just wanted to share. Again, all the slides that I went through today, I had actually prepared for a different webinar, but they were just so applicable to today that we use them. And one of the things we talked about in this other webinar is what are hot topics for our clients or Oracle customers. So that's the little uh, thing on the right there. The number one issue we get today, and the number one issue we got in 2011 is how do I reduce my Oracle technical support costs? Even if we're talking about Java, moving to the cloud, someone in that meeting is going to say, oh, by the way, we're spending $84 million with Oracle every year on maintenance, and that's ridiculous, or 8 million or 800,000. The client today was about 700,000 euro that they were spending, which for them, given the value, was not there. So this is still the number one issue that we face. So I think you guys are in a great place in the market because you help them with their number one problem.
Cost savings. And it's very easy. What are you spending now? It's going to be no more than half of what you're spending currently.
Excellent. So that was all I think we had today. Victoria, was there anything else you wanted to make sure we covered today?
I think that was it from, and I think it was a really good session today. Just to sort of recap, I think timelines are very important. We're coming up, obviously, to, like you said, Oracle November, so half year. Then we've got May coming up, and between now and May, that can go very, very, very quickly. So if you are looking at moving to third party support, obviously reach out, look on the website, get in contact with us. get in contact with us through Palisade and start those conversations sooner rather than later.
Yes, the timeline is critical. So awesome. Well, thank you very much for your time. I know you guys don't celebrate Thanksgiving, but happy Thanksgiving tomorrow.
We don't, but happy Thanksgiving to you and everybody.
And thank you, everybody, for joining us today. We hope this session is helpful. We will now start spamming you. Anyone, no, I'm just kidding. Anyone who registered will all be reaching out to you to see if you want to continue these conversations and help you better negotiations and lower your Oracle costs. So thank you, everyone. And thank you, Victoria.
Thanks. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Cheers.